The crack in the foundation. Imagine the strongest, most beautiful house. Its facade is impeccable, its interiors meticulously designed. But one day you notice a thin crack running from the foundation to the roof. You try to patch it with plaster, hang new wallpaper, but the crack reappears. The problem isn't the finish. The problem is the foundation. For most of us, finances are that very crack on the facade of our adult, accomplished lives. We see it in the panic that flares when checking a bank account, the clench in the gut at the mention of debt, the insomnia before paying bills. We pour all our energy into patching it, working more, seeking new income streams, creating budgets, reading books on financial literacy. But the crack remains. Because money is only a symptom. It is the language spoken by our deeper, older wound, the safety wound. This book is not about how to get rich. It is about how to heal the wound that causes us to tie our survival and our worth to numbers in an account. It is a journey to the foundation of your psyche, to the moment where fear first took root, and to how you can reclaim the sense of safety that was always your birthright. The wound beneath the numbers. From symptom to source. Most people are convinced their anxiety is about money. The connection seems so obvious we never question it. Little money equals stress. Lots of money equals no stress. Logical? Only on the surface. Money is never the true cause. It is a symbol, a mirror reflecting something older, deeper, and far more personal. Financial anxiety isn't about numbers. It's about safety. It's the echo of an ancient question buried deep within the nervous system. Am I safe in this world? When you feel panic about bills, debts, or uncertainty, your body isn't responding to your bank account. It's responding to a childhood memory, a feeling imprinted on your nervous system when the world felt unpredictable, when you didn't know if there would be enough love, protection, care, or food. The adult you is looking at a spreadsheet, but the child within is staring into the dark, whispering, "It's happening again." The neurology of the mirror, how the brain links money and safety. To understand this link, we must look at how our brain works. The amygdala, our internal alarm system, is responsible for threat detection. It operates instantaneously before our neocortex, our thinking self, can engage. The amygdala doesn't distinguish between a physical, social, or symbolic threat. To it, a threat is a threat. In childhood, our survival depended directly on our caregivers. Their stress, their conflicts, especially about money, their unpredictable behavior, all of this was registered by the amygdala as a direct threat to our existence. The brain created neural pathways. Loud voices equals danger. Mum is crying over bills equals danger. Dad lost his job equals danger. Years pass. You are now an adult. You pay your own bills. But when an unexpected invoice arrives or your boss hints at layoffs, the amygdala fires along the same old, well-worn pathway. It doesn't see the difference between a 30-year-old's financial problem and a 5-year-old's existential threat. It triggers the same alarm: danger, survival at risk. This is why money panic feels so all-consuming and physical. It's not an overreaction. It's the precise replay of a child's terror in the face of instability. Maria's story. Panic in a cafe. Maria, a successful designer, described her experience. After receiving a solid advance for a project, she decided to treat herself to dinner at a nice restaurant. As she browsed the menu, her eyes landed on the prices. Suddenly, a wave of nausea washed over her. Her heart raced and her ears rang. She felt an overwhelming urge to flee. Logically, Maria knew she could afford the meal, but in that moment, logic shut down. In a therapy session, we revisited that moment. What was it connected to? Suddenly, she remembered being 7 years old. Her parents were arguing in the kitchen. Her father yelled, "We can't afford to live like this. We'll be eating nothing but noodles." Little Maria sat at the table, trembling, unable to finish her food. Her body remembered that terror. No money equals no food equals no safety. The restaurant dinner was a trigger. Her adult self saw an opportunity for pleasure. Her child self saw betrayal and a path to catastrophe. The illusion of security. Civilization as a protective cocoon. Humanity has spent millennia trying to escape chaos. We invented agriculture to guard against hunger, laws against arbitrariness, religion against existential dread, marriage against loneliness, banks and insurance against financial instability. All these institutions are a giant collective attempt to build a wall between us and life's unpredictability. But the fundamental truth is this: there is no permanent safety. Security is a psychological concept, not a physical state. It is a feeling, not a fact. The nervous system evolved not for comfort, but for survival. It was designed to scan the environment for danger, to react faster than conscious thought. This mechanism saved our ancestors from saber-toothed tigers, but in the modern world, it turns minor threats into existential crises. This is why a drop in income can feel like the end of the world. The body makes no distinction between a lion in the grass and an overdue credit card payment. To the nervous system, both are a call to mobilization. Polyvagal theory, the language of the nervous system. Dr. Stephen Porges's revolutionary polyvagal theory gives us a map of this territory. Our sense of safety is created not by logic, but by the vagus nerve, a complex network connecting the brain to the heart, lungs, and gut. This nerve is the conductor of our internal safety symphony. It governs 3 states. 1. Ventral vagal, social engagement. When we feel safe, this nerve is active. We are open to connection, creativity, love. We can think clearly and make plans. 2. Sympathetic nervous system, fight-flight. When danger is perceived, the system switches here. Heart rate increases, muscles tense, blood flows to the limbs. We are ready to fight or flee. 3. Dorsal vagal, freeze. If the danger seems overwhelming, the system shuts down. We collapse into numbness, dissociation, exhaustion, and hopelessness. This is the ancient playing dead mechanism. Financial stress almost always activates the sympathetic system, panic, anger, or the dorsal vagal, apathy, avoidance. You can try to reason with yourself. It will be okay, I have a plan. But your body doesn't speak the language of logic. It speaks the language of survival. It listens not to your words, but to the tone of your voice, the tension in your muscles, the rhythm of your breath. The cultural myth of the solid foundation. We are taught from childhood that the path to safety lies through achievement. Get a good education, land a stable job, buy a house, save for retirement. We build our lives like that solid house from our introduction, believing that if we make the walls thick enough, the storm outside won't touch us. But life inevitably brings storms. Crises, illnesses, losses, changes in the job market. And when this happens, we aren't just facing an external problem. We're facing the collapse of our internal belief that control is possible. It's a double blow: the problem itself and the shattering of the illusion that gave us a sense of protection. The illusion of security is fragile, and when it cracks, the old primal fear comes rushing out. The child within the storm. The neurological imprint of childhood. Every adult who panics about money carries a frightened child inside. A child who once learned that safety could vanish in an instant. A child's brain is a sponge, absorbing not words but energetic patterns and the emotional climate of the family. The developing nervous system learns to regulate itself by mirroring the regulating nervous systems of the parents. When parents are in chronic stress, especially financial stress, their dysregulated state is transmitted to the child. Consider these scenarios. Parental conflicts over money. For a child, loud voices filled with fear and anger are not just an argument. They are an earthquake in the very foundation of their world. They don't understand the details of a mortgage debate, but they feel the tremble in their mother's voice and their father's clenched fists. Their conclusion? When money is talked about, the world falls apart. A parent's job loss. The sudden shift in mood at home, the whispers behind closed doors, the sadness or irritability of a parent. The child senses a threat, but has no way to understand or discuss it. The energy of helplessness and fear gets stuck in their body. Unpredictability. Money for toys today, none tomorrow. Parents are cheerful today, sullen tomorrow. For a developing brain, inconsistency is trauma. The nervous system learns to live in a constant state of threat anticipation, scanning the environment for signs of an approaching storm. Even decades later, a single sign of loss, a letter from the bank, an unexpected bill, can reactivate that same ancient fear circuitry. Somatic experiencing, the incomplete action. Peter Levine, founder of Somatic Experiencing, teaches that trauma is not the event itself, but the energy that the body could not discharge in that moment. Faced with a threat, our nervous system prepares us for action, to fight, flee, or freeze. If we cannot complete that action, a child cannot escape parental stress or fix the financial situation. The survival energy remains locked in the body. This frozen energy seeks an outlet, and financial stress often becomes that trigger. This is why you might feel irrational panic over something minor, a one-day delay in a paycheck. It's not irrational to the child who remembers that such instability foreshadowed long months of fear. So when you feel that panic, remember, you are not weak. You are remembering. Alexei's story. The sound of an envelope. Alexei, a small business owner, would fly into a rage every time his accountant brought him a folder of documents to sign. His anger was disproportionate to the situation. During our work together, we discovered that the specific rustle of paper triggered an immediate reaction in him. He remembered. As a teenager, every evening he would hear his father come home from work, take a folder of bills from his briefcase, and sit at the kitchen table with heavy sighs. The rustle of that paper was the sound of an approaching storm. The tension in the house would peak. Alexei's body had memorized: rustle of paper equals danger, equals need to prepare for a fight. His rage at the accountant was his adult self's attempt to control a situation that had been uncontrollable in childhood. It was armor, hiding the helplessness of the boy. The body remembers fear. The body as a living archive. The body is a historian that never forgets. Even when the mind has rewritten the story, softened the memories, or repressed them entirely, the body holds the first, most honest manuscript. Research in neurobiology shows that emotional and traumatic memories are stored in the amygdala and hippocampus, regions responsible for fear conditioning. These memories are not verbal, they are somatic. This means they speak the language of sensation, tightness in the chest, nausea, a lump in the throat, trembling knees, a sudden chill. When an adult faces financial uncertainty, the body replays the same script from childhood. It doesn't care that you have a savings account or a plan B. It only knows how safety once felt and how it was once lost. This is why attempts to think positive so often fail. You cannot talk your body out of fear. Fear must be felt, soothed, and retrained. The neurochemistry of panic. Let's look at what happens on a chemical level. Upon perceiving a threat, the adrenal glands flood the bloodstream with cortisol and adrenaline. These hormones increase heart rate and blood pressure, redirect blood from the digestive organs to the large muscles, sharpen the senses, shut down the prefrontal cortex, responsible for complex planning, empathy, and self-control. This is perfect for running from a lion, but catastrophic for creating a financial plan. In a state of panic, you cannot think creatively or strategically. You can only react. You are locked in a survival loop. The cycle: thought, feeling, sensation. A vicious cycle is created. 1. Thought, trigger. A large medical bill just arrived. 2. Emotion. A flash of fear, panic. 3rd, bodily sensation. Tightness in the chest, rapid heartbeat. 4. Interpretation of sensation. Oh my God, I'm having a heart attack. Or, I can't bear this feeling. 5. Amplification of fear. This catastrophizing intensifies the initial emotion, which in turn amplifies the physical symptoms. The circle is closed. You are now fighting not only a financial problem, but also your own body, which, in its attempt to save you, is making the situation unbearable. Healing requires breaking this cycle at the level of bodily sensation. You cannot start with the thought. You must start with the body. The false control of adulthood, the armor of the adult. Adults often respond to fear in the way children only wish they could, through control. We try to control everything: our careers, our schedules, our relationships, our diets, our emotions, because control creates the illusion of safety. It makes us feel that we are not helpless children, but powerful adults who can dictate the terms of life. When something threatens that illusion, a financial crisis, an unexpected expense, we often don't cry like children. We get angry. Anger is fear in armor. It is the nervous system declaring, I will not be helpless again. We get angry at the government, at our boss, at our partner, at ourselves. This rage is a defense mechanism. It masks the vulnerability, shame, and terror of that very child who feels the ground giving way. Perfectionism and the imposter syndrome. Another manifestation of false control is perfectionism. If I do everything perfectly, I can avoid criticism, mistakes, and therefore threat. Many workaholics and perfectionists are driven not by ambition, but by fear. They believe their value and safety depend on flawlessness. Closely related is the imposter syndrome. Even with external success, a person lives in constant fear of being found out. Money earned by such a person brings no peace, because they subconsciously believe they don't deserve it and are about to lose everything. This is a direct projection of the childhood feeling, I am not good enough to be loved and cared for. The tyranny of should. Our speech is full of controlling statements. I should be earning more. I need to finally get my finances in order. I must provide a decent standard of living for my family. Notice the tension in these words. They carry no energy of desire or joy, only the heaviness of obligation and the fear of punishment. It is the voice of a harsh inner parent trying to whip life and themselves into submission. But control is an illusion. No amount of planning can protect you from life's unpredictability. The path to peace lies not through control, but through trust. Not blind optimism, but embodied confidence that you can meet life as it comes and handle it. What is true safety? True safety is not the absence of threat, it is the presence of resilience. Imagine bamboo and an oak tree in a hurricane. The oak, rigid and immovable, tries to control the elements with its strength. A strong wind breaks it. The bamboo is flexible. It bends to the ground, then springs back upright. Its strength lies not in resistance, but in its ability to yield and recover. Your nervous system can learn to be like that bamboo. True safety is the flexibility of your nervous system, its ability to weather a storm without breaking, and to return to a state of calm. Practice 1. Grounding through the senses. Returning to the here and now theory without practice is barren. Let's begin retraining your nervous system. The first and most fundamental practice is grounding. Its goal is to pull you out of the chaos of future thoughts, catastrophizing, and past memories, trauma, and return you to the present moment, where real danger is almost always absent. Polyvagal theory tells us that our sense of safety is created by perceiving signals of safety in the environment. Grounding is the conscious search for these signals. The 5-4-3-2-1 technique. Wherever you are, when you feel panic rising, pause. Don't try to fight the anxiety. Just shift your focus. Look around and name, silently or out loud, 5 things you can see. Don't just glance, notice details. I see my cup with a blue pattern. I see the shadow of a plant on the wall. I see a book with a worn spine. I see the reflection of light on my monitor. I see the grain of the wooden table. Now, notice 4 things you can touch. Feel the texture. I feel the smooth surface of the table under my fingers. I feel the softness of my sweater on my skin. I feel the coolness of the air on my cheeks. I feel the chair supporting my back. Listen and identify 3 sounds you can hear. I hear the hum of the computer. I hear a car driving by outside. I hear my own breathing. Find 2 things you can smell. If there are no obvious smells around, smell your hand, the air, the coffee on the table. I smell coffee. I smell the soap on my hands. Finally, name 1 word that describes what you are feeling right now, without judgment, just an observation. Tense, scared, anxious, present. Why this works? This simple practice does several things at once. It forces the prefrontal cortex to name, to categorize, to engage, gently bringing it back online from its shut-down state. It shifts focus from internal catastrophic images to the external, real and non-threatening environment. It activates the ventral vagal pathway through sensory input. You are literally telling your nervous system through your senses, look, touch, listen. We are here, now, and right now, in this second, we are safe. You are not ignoring the problem, you are stabilizing the system so you can later approach the problem from a state of strength, not panic. Rewriting the language of fear. Anxiety as a messenger. Every emotion is a form of intelligence, an adaptive mechanism trying to communicate something to us. Anxiety is not a system malfunction, it is a messenger. Fear, in its original form, is a rescue service. It shouts, "Watch out! Danger!" The problem arises when the rescue service starts going off at every passing fly. When you feel financial anxiety, instead of fighting it or suppressing it, try approaching it with curiosity. Take a step back and ask it, "What are you trying to protect me from?" Ask this question quietly, internally, and listen for the first, most immediate answer that arises from within. Often, the answer will not be about money per se. It will be about the meaning you assign to it. You fear not the loss of money, but the loss of control. If I can't pay the bills, I'll lose control of my life. Identity. If I don't provide for my family, I am a bad husband, father, son. Worth. If I don't earn enough, I am a failure and won't be respected, loved. Freedom. Debt is a prison. I will be trapped. Love. This is a particularly deep belief. To be loved, I must be successful and provide. The cultural lie. Having versus being. This is the root of the problem. Somewhere along the way, your psyche linked having with being. Success equals being good. Wealth equals being safe. Poverty equals being under threat. This is the great cultural lie of modernity. We are taught from childhood that stability equals safety and success equals peace. But history and experience show that the wealthiest people can be deeply unhappy, while people of modest means can experience profound peace. Freedom begins when you separate your value from your possessions. When you understand that your being, your essence, your capacity to love, create, feel, is in no way dependent on the numbers in your account. A new definition of safety. Try redefining safety for yourself. Not through the lens of money, but through the lens of internal resources. Safety is the knowing that no matter what happens in my financial life, I have the internal and external resources to handle it. Internal resources, your resilience, resourcefulness, ability to learn, ask for help, your values. External resources, your relationships, community, skills, knowledge. When you begin to believe this definition, money loses its power over your emotional state. It becomes a tool, not a judge. The nervous system and the illusion of lack. When the brain sees ghosts. When the nervous system is chronically dysregulated, it perceives scarcity, even in abundance. This is what psychologists call the perceptual bias of threat. Simply put, when your body is tense, your brain literally sees fewer possibilities. It filters reality through a lens of fear. Neuroscience confirms this. Under stress, the prefrontal cortex, the area responsible for executive functions, creativity, long-term planning, and complex problem-solving, goes offline. Blood and glucose are diverted from it to more ancient reactive brain structures. Imagine trying to solve a complex math problem while being chased by a lion. It's impossible. Your brain isn't wired for it. The same thing happens when you try to think your way out of your financial situation in a state of panic. You can't. You can only cycle through the same frightening thoughts. I'll never figure this out. I'm going to lose everything. There's no way out. This is why no amount of thinking harder solves anxiety. you must first calm the body to free the mind. Integration, the key to wholeness. Dr. Dan Siegel, a renowned psychiatrist and neuroscientist, calls the process of healing integration. Integration is the linking of disparate parts into a unified, harmonious whole. In our context, this means integrating mind and body, ending the war between thoughts and sensations, adult and child, allowing the adult to use its resources to care for the frightened inner child. Logic and emotion, allowing emotions to be valuable advisors, not tyrants. When integration occurs, fear is not suppressed, it is transformed. Fear is energy, frozen survival energy. When it is released and integrated, it becomes energy for life, creativity, focus, purpose, vitality. You are no longer spending your power containing panic. You're directing that power toward creating the life you want to live. Practice 2. Breath as a lever. Breath is a unique bridge between the autonomic, involuntary nervous system and our conscious control. We breathe automatically, but we can also consciously change our breathing rhythm. This gives us direct access to switching nervous system states. The technique I offer is not meditation in the classic sense. It is targeted reprogramming of your physiological state. It can be done anywhere and takes just 60 seconds. The 4-2-6 breathing technique. Inhale slowly and deeply through your nose, calmly counting to 4. Hold your breath, counting to 2. Exhale smoothly and completely through your mouth, as if fogging a mirror, counting to 6. Pause after the exhale, counting to 2, before beginning the next inhale. Repeat this cycle for 1 minute, about 4 to 5 cycles. Why this works? From a nervous system perspective, the magic lies in the ratio of inhale to exhale and the pause after the exhale. The longer exhale is key. It directly stimulates the vagus nerve and activates the parasympathetic nervous system, our rest and digest system. The pause after the exhale enhances this effect, giving the body a moment of complete relaxation before the next inhale. It's simple biology. When the exhale is longer than the inhale, the body receives a chemical signal to exit fight or flight mode. Stress hormone levels drop, heart rate slows. Do this exercise every time you feel financial fear rising. You are not ignoring the fear. You are giving your body an alternative, physiologically based response to the trigger. You are literally telling your nervous system through your breath, the danger has passed. You can relax now. The paradigm shift from mirror to source. When you begin to understand that money is merely a mirror reflecting the state of your nervous system, you become truly free. You stop fighting numbers and start healing the story beneath them. You begin to see that anxiety is not your enemy. It is your energy, trapped in defense mode. Once released, that same energy becomes creativity, focus, and purpose. The path to peace lies not in earning more, but in feeling safe with less. Because safety never lived in your wallet. It has always lived in your breath, in your ability to be present in the current moment, in your faith in yourself. You are the adult and the parent. And here is the most important shift in identity. You are not the child who was unprotected. You are the adult who can protect that child now. Inside you lives not only a wounded child, but also a wise, strong adult, capable of caring for them. Healing happens in the dialogue between them. The next time you feel the familiar panic, don't ask, How do I get rid of this? Ask, what is this trying to teach me? This question, asked with curiosity and not fear, is the doorway to transformation. Because in truth, anxiety is not a curse. It is a compass. It points not to your weakness, but to the place within that is still waiting to be healed, accepted, and loved. Coming home. You are not broken for fearing uncertainty. You are human for wanting safety. But the real work of healing is remembering. Safety was never outside of you. It was always something you could create inside. When you feel the old fear rise, pause, touch your chest, breathe, and whisper, I am safe now. The storm is over, and each time you do, the frightened child inside rests a little deeper, and the adult becomes a little freer. Your journey from fear to freedom is not a path to some special achievement. It is a path home, to yourself, to that place inside that has always been and will always be your true refuge. Join Mind Traps, where awareness untangles illusion. Every trap of thought has a hidden key,